Hey Warriors fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today, let's go ahead and break down the entire Golden State Warriors roster heading into the 2019-2020 season. From the very top, Steph Curry, all the way down to a guy like Ky Bowman. How are each of these players going to fit? Where are they going to play? Starters, role players, draft picks, everything. It's the complete Golden State Warriors roster breakdown here on Chat Sports. Let's jump right into, of course, the starters. Here are your surefire starters for this upcoming season. This is very obvious. Anyone could read the list that you have right in front of you. It's Steph, it's D'Angelo Russell, it's Klay when healthy, and Draymond Green. Those are my four surefire starters for the Warriors this season. Now we start with Steph Curry. Obviously, he's going to be the starter. Obviously, he's going to be the unquestioned superstar, the unquestioned leader of this team. It's his time to shine. Now, I'm not saying he hadn't shined in the past, but he has been not in the shadow of Kevin Durant, but he's been second fiddle to Kevin Durant the past couple of years. Now, with no Klay Thompson, no Kevin Durant, at least Klay Thompson for the majority of the year, it's Steph going to be, he's 100% the number one option, and now he has to really step up and assume that role in being the leader of this team. Again, not to say that he hasn't done this, not to say that he hasn't done this in the past, it's just amplified this year based on the injuries and based on the fact that Kevin Durant is gone. Now, how many games can he play? Can the ankle stay healthy? It's always a question with Steph Curry. He seems to go through a lot of injuries during the year that'll have him stay out of a couple games, depending on how long it takes to get healed. Can he stay healthy? And the question that I've talked about on this show many, many times that you guys already know, how does he fit with D'Angelo Russell, right? I mean, D'Angelo Russell, we're going to talk about in a second, the newest addition. How does Steph and D'Angelo work together? That is on my top list of question marks for Steph Curry going into this season. Next surefire starter, obviously D'Angelo Russell. You didn't trade for him, bring him over, the 23-year-old star point guard, to not start him, so he's obviously going to start in the Warriors this year. Will he play more off-ball? Will he handle the ball more? Will Steph play more off-ball? Again, these are the questions that I keep asking. How will it look with Steph and D'Angelo Russell on the floor at the same time? Remember, D'Angelo Russell's big, 6'6". He should be able to defend. He should be able to hopefully be a nice piece, a nice second fiddle superstar to Steph Curry on this squad. Now, Klay Thompson will be a starter when he finally returns in about 8 to 12 months based on how long his ACL takes to heal. The questions will be, 1, where will the Warriors be at when he returns? And 2, how effective can he be coming off the ACL tear? Because again, rust will be a factor because he won't be able to really run or move or jump for a long time during the healing process. So how rusty will he be, and what position are the Warriors in to need his help? Are they making a deep playoff run? Are they entering the playoffs? Are they a 1 seed? Are they a 5 seed? Are they a 7 seed? Who knows? Klay Thompson coming back will happen. It's a matter of when and how much of an impact he can have as well. And finally, of course, Draymond Green is going to obviously be a starter on this team. Now, he is an unrestricted free agent after this season, so very curious to see if any sort of contract were to happen here, and also his dynamic with Steph and D'Angelo Russell now that Durant and Thompson will be gone for a long time. Again, you sit there and it's like, all right, unrestricted free agent, are they going to give him a max? Can they afford to give him a max? Are they going to give him a new deal? Are they going to let him walk in free agency? Be curious to see how his play is affected by that looming contract that is coming up in the near future. All right, there's your starters, right? Those are the 3 plus Klay Thompson, make it 4. That will for sure be starters. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple when you guys like Steph Curry and Draymond Green. We already know that. But we'll ask you guys a question here. How confident are you that Steph and D'Angelo Russell will work well together on a scale of 1 to 10? So 10 being like, man, they're going to be the best duo ever. 1 being like, oh boy, trade Russell as fast as possible. Let me know in the comments down below. Just give me a number, 1 through 10. All right, next are the potential starters. Because again, we only gave you 4 starters, really 3 without Klay Thompson. So 2 other people are going to be starting during the year. Who could it be? Well, you have 3 real potential starters. Alfonzo McKinnie, Kevon Looney, and Willie Cauley-Stein. McKinnie seems to be the surefire lock to assume the Klay Thompson role playing the 3. Again, can all change. You know, he can rotate around. It's not guaranteed, but I would assume that McKinnie is going to fill the spot for Klay Thompson. 35% career from 3, and averaged about 13.9 minutes per game last season, so obviously his playing time is going to have a big boost. Can he fill the shoes, or really fill half the shoes, right? We don't expect you to be Klay Thompson. We just needed you to be able to shoot, play defense, and be a nice role player there at the starting 3 position. Because again, someone's got to fill the role, and hopefully it is Alfonzo McKinnie. That'd be my bet for who is going ahead and assuming that. So that would take care of 1 other starter. And then finally, who starts at center? Is it Kevon Looney or is it Willie Cauley-Stein? Now, I would argue it's going to be Kevon Looney. It just makes more sense. He's been there longer. He is the likely starting center for the Golden State Warriors. But he's going to see a massive role increase, right? Now, we've seen him start at center in the past, where they had Boogie Cousins last year, so he's going to be the surefire #1 guy, so the minutes increases, the role increases, and how big of a factor can he be on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball? Hopefully, it's not a problem, right? Hopefully he's just a plug-and-play starter, and he does a great job as we expect him in the pick and roll and on the defensive side. Now, if Looney doesn't start, then you could have the new Warriors sign this offseason, Willie Cauley-Stein. Now, remember, he could be better than Kevon Looney in the long run, but he's had those kind of, motivation issues is what they talked about with him in Sacramento. Never seemed to reach his full potential. He did average like 11 points per game last season, but he is a bad rim protector, but he is great in the pick and roll. So again, are you going to give up defense for more offense as he can stretch the floor a little bit more? What do you see in terms of him versus Kevon Looney? These are questions we'll have to find out later on as the season gets closer to progressing. But again, I would expect Kevon Looney to start at least at the beginning of the season, and then of course Willie Cauley-Stein will come off the bench, and if he proves he's a better center, as probably has more talent overall, more weapons in the arsenal, maybe he could supplant Kevon Looney to be the starter for the Golden State Warriors at some point this season. But again, McKinney, Looney, Willie Cauley-Stein could potentially be starters. They're in the potential starter category here. And I would argue that all three of them will see starter-like role and starter-like minutes at some point during the year, because they're going to be shuffling guys around. As you'll see as we go down the list here, a lot of bodies. We got to figure out what you can do. Plug, play. If you can play well, you'll stay. If not, back to the bench, and so on and so forth. All right, weigh in for you guys. Who should start at center? If you had to pick right now, Kevon Looney, Willie Cauley-Stein. Who would you rather have? I'm curious about who we're favoring here, because again, Looney is the incumbent, right? And he's the Warrior. He's been there for a while. And then you have Willie Cauley-Stein, who probably is more talented. I'm curious what you guys think. Who will be the starting center for Week 1? All right. Or Week 1, NFL. NFL's on the brain here for Game 1 of the NBA season. Okay, let's go to role players. These are guys that maybe could become starters, could play starter position, but really are going to be role players and bench players and coming in for little spurts at a time. And they have a bunch of guys to throw out there, throw it against the wall, and see who sticks. Now, Alec Burks is obviously one of the ones we had talked about on this show previously. He's the versatile wing scorer. He's also a pretty athletic defender. He could still be a great fill-in at the 3. He would be my pick after Alfonso McKinney to be the replacement for Klay Thompson. You could see them battle for that spot if Burks indeed has a very good year. The next, of course, is Jacob Evans. Now, he was a 28th overall pick last year for the Golden State Warriors, but in his 30 NBA games, looked pretty overwhelmed. So they kind of spent most of his time down in the G League, where he averaged about 11 points per game. So, year 2, how much have you matured? How much have you progressed? And how can you not look overwhelmed while you're on the floor with Golden State? Because we noticed that, the coaches noticed that, and that's why he only played in 30 games last season. Now, Glenn Robinson III is going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, he's playing for his 15 in the last 6 NBA seasons, so he's had a lot of moving around. He did shoot pretty poorly from 3 last year, about 30%, but 2 seasons ago, he shot 42% from 3. So which one are we going to get, right? Are we going to get the 30% three-point shooter or the 41% three-point shooter? And obviously 41 is where we want to be. Remember, he's more of a dunker, right? He won the dunk contest with the Pelicans in 2017. So the question's now, if you wanted to go from a role player to an actual starter, can you be more than a dunker? Right? Can you shoot that 41% from 3 that you did? We want you to be able to, be more of a complete player. If not, that's why he's in the role player list right here as we're breaking down the Warriors roster. And finally, Omari Spellman. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Omari Spellman. Remember, he was traded from the Hawks this offseason, a young big man, but the issue has been weight. Like, the Hawks have tried to get him down in weight. He showed up to the Summer League, and he just ballooned. Like, weight is an issue for this guy. And so the Hawks said, you know what, tired of it. We're going to move on and draft Bruno Fernando this year in the draft. And so shipped him over to, of course, Golden State. And then the questions still remain. What will Omari Spellman's weight be as we get closer to the NBA regular season? Because, again, he can be a decent big. Right? He can be a serviceable level big, a good role player off the bench if he can get down in weight. And the questions will be, all right, let's see if he can do it. It's all on him, right? The trainers are going to be there. They'll help him out. They have the motivation to do so. Can he stay healthy and lose weight? That's the question mark we have with Omari Spellman. All right, question for you guys. Which role player out of these, so Spellman, Robinson, Evans, and Burks, which do you think will have the biggest impact off the bench for the Warriors this season? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, and of course we have the draft picks. You know, who knows how many games these guys will actually get to play. Will they go to the G League? Will they stay up here? Question marks all around. Obviously, Jordan Poole was our first draft pick this NBA draft, the 28th overall pick, the guard out of Michigan. Listen, the good is that he's a great ball handler and has the shooting capability that we would expect from a guard coming out of Michigan. Now, does struggle with shot selection, so shot a ton of balls last season, and sometimes can pull up from ranges he shouldn't, and take shots that really you would not want him to do at an NBA level. So Jordan Poole is kind of the likely guy to get the most playing time out of the NBA, or out of our draft picks, but at the same time, can he, you know, assume the role of kind of a backup guard position for the Warriors as a rookie? We'll have to wait and see. Next, of course, is a power forward out of Serbia, and excuse me if I butcher his name, I was practicing in the mirror, but it's still very difficult. It is Alen. Goodness, I always butcher this, even whenever they drafted him. So you know what? We're not going to try. Alen from Serbia, the power forward and the center, the 39th overall pick, the 6'10". He can be athletic with rim running abilities, right? And we talked about this previously, I think in a previous draft video, whenever they picked him. The question is, can he become a better shooter and a potential floor spacer? Again, with the bigs you already have on the floor that you're expected to have, and you know the role players, stuff like that, will this Serbian power forward be able to get playing time? The odds, and the answer is probably not. But again, draft picks, anything can happen. We'll have to wait and see. The next, of course, is the Villanova forward, the 41st overall pick in the NBA draft, Eric Paschall. Similar mold to Draymond Green, right? You look at potential Draymond Green replacement in the future because his contract is coming up. This could be this guy right here. And the Warriors doubled down by giving him a 3-year fully guaranteed deal, which I think was like the second highest fully guaranteed deal out of a draft pick picked in this kind of the area that he was drafted 41st overall. And I believe NBA history. And I was looking this up and it was like, man, the Warriors are really high on this guy, and maybe it is because they see him as a potential Draymond Green replacement, or maybe they just like what he showed up and showed off and when he was at Villanova. Either way, the Warriors gave him a lot of money in terms of what a rookie should be paid, and so I expect to see him at least contribute a little bit this year, but mainly, of course, focusing on the future. All right, which of the draft picks could have the biggest impact this season? I think it'll be Jordan Poole. It'd make a lot of sense, but Eric Paschall is going to be very interesting as well. Of course, we talked about the forward out of Villanova. All right, finally, so we're breaking down the Warriors roster. There's a lot to get into here, and obviously we're down towards the bottom, so little is known about the potential these guys could have in the 2019 season. But these are our two-way players, Damion Lee and Ky Bowman. So the two players that will play in the G League for sure, but they have those two-way contracts so they can bounce up and play some games for the Warriors in the actual Big Boy Warriors hardcourt there at the new arena in San Francisco. So the first is Damion Lee. Obviously, we know this guy from previous years. He was hoping to get a fully guaranteed contract this season from a different team. He was hoping to leave, but when no one wanted to sign him to an actual contract, not a two-way contract, he decided to stay in Golden State. Again, sharpshooter, he played like 32 games last season, shot about 40% from three in the games that he did appear in. So it's a matter of, all right, progression, build up. We love the sharpshooting, love the 40% from three. We got to see you kind of grow a little bit more, obviously, because that's why they're two-way players. I'm not breaking any ground here in terms of our evaluations. And then Ky Bowman, the undrafted guy out of Boston College, did average 19 points per game last season with Boston College and played for the Warriors Summer League team a few weeks ago. Again, you know, what do you want to say? How many minutes is he actually going to get? Will he play in 10 games this season? In 30 games this season for the Warriors? I don't know, but the majority of his time will most likely be spent in the G League, where you either shine or you continue as a G League player until you decide to leave the NBA. All right, there you go. That's the full roster breakdown. Again, it's a difficult roster to do, and I was talking to people in the office as well here at Chat Sports, where it's like, man, after the starting four, Klay, Russell, Draymond, and then, well, Steph, Russell, Draymond, then Klay whenever he gets healthy, it's really up in the air on who's going to start and who's going to be big-time role players. We mentioned Looney, we mentioned Cauley-Stein, McKinney, Burks. Like, where are these guys going to fit? I try and project it out for you guys as the research that I've done and the people I've talked to. I think this is how it's going to go. But again, anything can happen, and so it's fun just to break down the roster and give you guys a quick peek at everything, top to bottom, on what could happen for the Warriors roster in 2019. Final question here. Let's just weigh in on the overall Warriors roster. How would you rate it? A through F. A+, A-, B+, B-, all the way down. Right now, because again, those role players are very interesting, I would probably give them a B-, B+ area. Obviously, it's a good roster. Obviously, it's a playoff roster. Obviously, they can compete this year in the Western Conference, even though there are a lot of very good teams in the West as well. But at the same time, how good's McKinney? What does Looney do in a full-time starting role? Can Willie Cauley-Stein pull minutes away from Kevon Looney? What are the role players going to look like? These are all question marks that I think the majority of us have no idea, and so we can't give it an A. I think B- is probably a little bit more safe in terms of the Warriors. But hey, there's my grade. I want to hear your guys' grade as well. Scroll down. You guys have been answering questions the entire show, and comment down below. A+ through F- is where we can go in this overall grade of the Warriors roster. There you go. Again, breaking it all down for you guys is only we can do here at Chat Sports. Be sure to subscribe down below for plenty of more great content upcoming in the future. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.